And here we are again to look at slicers. So I am going to zoom out a little bit because I can do this with data or not data. You can, of course, move charts or resize them. You can resize charts by clicking on the chart area, and you can move your mouse to the handles and drag the handles out or in. And if you pull charts, if you resize charts, then you run the risk of making data look better or worse than it really is. So you do have to be careful about that. And there's a whole bunch of other things you can learn about properly visualizing data and making sure you don't change the scale, for one thing, of these different heights for the wrong reasons. But what I wanted to do was to be able to show you slicers. So I have a pivot table. I've got this chart, but instead of using this complicated field list over here, which takes a little bit of getting used to, but please play with it, I want to be able to insert a slicer. So there's a slicer and a timeline. And it's really neat to play with. You put your mouse over it, it says use a timeline to filter dates interactively. And I could do that here, which would actually, I recommend you play with that, because now I have data with a series of dates, really. Then play with a slicer that deals with the timeline. But I'm going to do the slicer, which is here under the Analyze for Pivot Chart tools. And it's probably somewhere else. It's not on the Data tab. It is on the Insert tab. So you can insert slicers, which are a kind of filter. Because when I insert a slicer, I can choose business and sales and day. I can hit no, I don't want to see. I can hit sales ID and OK. So now I have these slicers, and it's really interesting because these slicers are joined or attached to the table and the chart. So they're all linked together. All of them are linked together. Now any changes to the underlying data, if I come over here to residential, or sorry, to ready to pivot, because this was the data that I made the pivot table off of. If I change this to 181, so I've just added 100 to that value, and I come back to sheet 2, I might not see anything here, but what I do have to do is to refresh all of my data connections, and now you see this value here got updated. So if I undo that, see, I've just undone it. Day 1 for residential, so see, I got my little filter here for residential care, is $81.50. And now if I refresh it, it pulls the data live off of my. All right, no idea how this is going to go because I had to blend the two videos together. So hopefully that worked. So I'm looking at these pivot tables now, or no, what did I do? I had to refresh the data to get my $100 back off that data set. It's not this data set, which still has, let's see, my residential care. And I have the dates, oldest to newest. See, it says 81.5 here, but this is ready to pivot at 181. So my pivot tables are based on ready to pivot. So there's a connection. It's called a data connection, and it's a connection between the pivot table that we started from, sorry, the data that we started from, and it connects to all these little things. So the last thing I was talking about, slicers. So these are actually little filters that I can select one at a time and see all the data. So it looks like on Monday from sales ID 3, there was nothing in residential care. Was it a group home? No. Was it individual? No. It was a restaurant. No. A residential care. Why am I not getting anything? It wasn't. I'm hearing things now because it's 11:30. There. See? Stuff like this. I can't even explain things anymore. But I will point out there might be a difference between your computer and my computer because this happened in one of the classrooms. When I'm working with a slicer here, I can choose this option for multi-select. If you have a different version of Excel, it might be the one step prior to this version, then this option will not be here, but you can choose Monday and hold the control key and choose Saturday, and you'll select 2 days at the same time. So holding down control key will allow you to do that, and of course select the top item, then hold shift select the bottom item, and it selects everything in between. You should be familiar with that because I've covered it in the first week of class. And I'm using Shift and Control to add everything else. So back over here, I could, if you have the newest version of Excel like I do, choose Business, or sorry, Multi-Select, and now I can just choose Multi-Select. And now I can select multiple things. So I'm looking at all the data, all the sales ID people, all the businesses. My grand total is 33,096. Oh, I'm 100 over now. And the last thing I need to be able to change, if I look at my slicer tools and go to options, I have different styles. So highly recommended that people do the trainings, learn how to play with styles and slicers. See, I'm going to get rid of, I can change these different colors to different styles, have everything match. I can click on a slicer and press the delete key to get rid of it, and I can move this around, and you can also resize them to make it look nice. Do a whole bunch of weird things to slicers. It's pretty cool. So that is it. Thank you very much, and I hope everything goes well for you. See that? Find it matching, matches, matching, matches, colors, red. Oh, that wasn't very good. Red, red, red. There you go. See, look, now everything matches. Yay. All right. Thank you for watching.